And let me tell you, forgiveness is not for them, it's for you.
Welcome to Leaders of the West, a podcast for innovators and changemakers. I'm your host, Jessie Jarvis, the founder of the West, and I'm sitting down with agriculturalists, entrepreneurs, executives, and everyone in between with the goal of digging into the strategies, mindsets, and lessons that have been crucial to the success of ag and Western. Whether you're carrying on the next generation of your family's operation, starting something from scratch, or determined to climb up the leadership ladder, we're going to inspire you to continue to dream big, growing not just you, but the future of agriculture and Western as a whole. Let's go. Well. Welcome to this week's episode of Leaders of the West. This is a little bit of a unique episode. This is actually part 2 of a conversation with Sharon Beach. So if you guys are tuning in to this week's episode for the very first time, it is an incredible episode, but it's probably going to make a little bit more sense if you go back a week and tune into part 1, where Sharon and I talk about what she has overcome in her life, including kidnapping, health issues. And this week, we're going to move into the mindset and the faith that it took in order for her to really move past those difficult years in her life and have led to the successes that she's currently had. You guys are in for a great episode. Again, especially if you listened to last week's episode, I'm sure you guys are chomping at the bit for this one. So I am going to get right to it. This is part 2 with Sharon Beach. That is kind of where I want to take the rest of this episode, which is this idea of mental toughness, because you speak on it, you have lived it. Obviously, this is something that can haunt somebody for the rest of their life, just the kidnapping itself. Then you go through the medical side of things. Then we walk through the justice element and the fact that one of these individuals is still up 37 years later for the opportunity for parole. And you're continuing to have to fight this. So how do you define mental toughness? And is it something that you had before the kidnapping, or is it something that you have really had to hone in on and build after?
To answer your first question, I would think that mental toughness is something I was born with. I had a challenging childhood that I just pushed through as well. And not a bad childhood, just challenging, a little bit. And I say that I'm blessed to have mental strength and physical strength. And I think that's just something you're born with. Can you learn it? Absolutely. Can you work out, become physically stronger? Absolutely. But some of that mental toughness, just like working with my collaborative writer on my book, she goes, "How did you do what you did to escape?" I'm like, "I don't know. It's just innate." It's not like, okay, I think that, you just figure out what to do. And to me, that's part of mental toughness. The answer isn't no. The answer is, I don't know, or I'll figure it out, or as Pam Minnick says, the answer is yes. Now tell me the question. And you just figure out what to do. Door 8 isn't the answer. Maybe door B is. Sometimes the second best solution is the best solution versus what you think is the best solution. So mental toughness is, for anything, it's just tenacity and fortitude. It's not giving in. It's staying focused. Just like those 4 days they had me, I had to stay focused because I never knew what was going to come next. And I had to see if my game was working and change my route with my game. And so mental toughness is just refusing. It's asking questions, looking for answers, and just refusing to give up and give in. Do we have our valleys? Absolutely, we do. But it's just like I share that to me, I have an ABC of surviving. And A is attitude. You can choose that attitude every day. Do we want to? No. Do we want to have a bad attitude some days? Of course we do.
Yeah, some days I really do want to throw my sucker in the dirt.
Oh, we all do. We can't help it. We all do. But it's attitude. It's your attitude toward looking out. And let me tell you, living well is the best revenge. Because they're hanging out in prison and I'm living the best life ever. I'm not going to let them continue controlling me. And then B is you have to believe. You have to believe in yourself. You have to believe in others. You have to believe that you can make it through. And that's part of building that mental toughness. I give the example of the paralyzed man in the Bible whenever Jesus came to Capernaum, and his friends are like, "Oh my gosh, if we can just get our paralyzed friend to Jesus, he'll be healed." Well, the crowd was so massive They couldn't get through. They couldn't get their friend through. Carrying on, you can imagine what a biblical stretcher was like, a blanket over 2 pieces of wood or something. And they're like, "Well, we can't get it there, so let's go to the roof. Let's lower him down through the roof." Whenever Jesus saw that, he didn't heal the paralyzed man because of his faith. He healed the paralyzed man because of his friend's faith. So you have to believe in yourself because of your circle, whether it be family, friends, whatever it may be, they're believing in you and they have belief in you. I'm very blessed that I walked away from Texas A&M with a group of friends. We're called the Six Pack because one Halloween we dressed up as a six pack of Coors Light. And that has stayed with us, and we're friends to today. And you can imagine what our text string is like. We're friends to today. And so then the C is choice. It is truly a choice. You can make a choice every day if you're going to have a good attitude or a bad attitude, if you're going to have belief in yourself or believe in others. So those are sort of my ABCs that help, I think, victims who then become survivors get through life.
Let's hone in on B, which is belief, because faith is something that shows up a lot in your story. Talk about the role that it played, obviously, during the kidnapping itself, but then while you were in the hospital, ever since then. Would you say that your faith was tested, or was it something that had no bounds and you fully had true faith without undoubt?
I'm not going to say it was tested because God promises us He doesn't promise we're all going to live to 75 years old. He doesn't even promise us a life free of adversity, but He does promise us peacefulness and help along the way. And so I turned to God when I woke up that first morning after a night of sexual assault. He's the first one I turned to. I wanted peacefulness for death. I wanted to ask Him, and I asked Him, I hope my little 26 years on life has helped him accomplish something that he might have set out or had a plan for me. So my faith, just like somebody said, "Oh, you're writing a Christian book." I said, "No." "Oh, you're writing a motivation book." I said, "No, I'm writing my story." It just so happens that God and my faith is a big part of my story. And so my faith is what took me through. When I thought I was going to die in the hospital, I bled for 16 hours one night and one day. And they didn't know if they were going to get the bleeding stopped or not. I just felt the peacefulness come through. So I was never tested. And it was very interesting. My sister was recovering from a back procedure at my house about a year ago. And we were talking about my book and we would make comments. "Well, I don't remember that. Well, I don't remember that, or I don't think that's how that happened." So, sisters fighting. "I don't think so." And she said something that stopped me in my tracks. And she goes, "Well, do you remember whenever I asked you if you were mad at God?" And I said, "No." I said, "What did I say?" And she goes, "No, because God saved my life." So how could I be mad at him? Because he had saved my life. He'd taken me through the kidnapping. I escaped. He took me through the hospital.
He gave you what you asked for. You asked to make it through, right? Again, going back to he didn't promise you he would give you what you wanted without adversity, but he
That's right.
gave you what you wished for.
Right. And none of us in life live the story we think we're going to, but he has a story for us. And in the end, we can always turn ashes into beauty.
Let's talk a little bit about forgiveness because in a story like this, obviously, there is a huge element of that. When it comes to forgiving people who have hurt us or harmed us, that's not a given for everybody. Walk me through that. How did you get there? What does forgiveness actually look like in practice? Is that something that was very easy to come to terms with? Did it take years and years of really working to that?
I have the best story. I have the best story about forgiveness. Okay. I was married for 10 years. And my husband and I, this would have been, I'm going to sound like an old person. Well, this was way back in 90 something, but I think it was like, like 94, 95. We lived in a very, very rural town, maybe 300 people. We attended the Methodist church, and there was a gentleman there. I just love Bob Carmack to death. Just loved him. Day working cowboy, heart for the Lord. Just funny guy. And once he learned about my story, every Sunday or when he said to me, "Hey, I got a question for you." And if you couldn't handle personal space, you were in trouble. He'd just get right in front of you. And he goes, "Hey, I got a question for you." And I remember the Sunday I was standing there. I can tell you what direction I was standing in church. I can tell you who was around me, what I was looking at. Bob came up because "I got another question." I'm like, "Okay, what is it?" He goes, have you forgiven them? I'm like, Bob Carmack, you're getting ready to make me cuss in church. I said, no, I haven't forgiven them. I'm like, what, you said, seriously, you're asking a question like that? I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I'm like, I'm going to forgive. And I just went on for a few minutes. He goes, okay, well, you know me, I just have to ask. I said, I know. And let me tell you, it was the summer of 1998. One day, it just came over me. And I looked around. I'm like, God, are you around? Where are you? And the biggest release came across, and the forgiveness was there. I had not been praying for it. I had not been asking for it, but I think God said it was time. And let me tell you, forgiveness is not for them, it's for you, because it helps you let go. It helps you continue to live. It helps you continue to grow. I was shocked. I was shocked when that happened to me. I don't know that I said 2 words the remainder of the day with the feeling that came across. So forgiveness can happen even when you're not seeking it. But let me assure you, it is for you. It is not for them.
When it comes to life with horses, Purina Animal Nutrition understands that the little moments matter. It could be time spent in the saddle, on the road, or back home at the ranch. But it's also the time you spend asking questions, learning, and always trying to do what's right by your horses. Here at Purina, these moments matter to us too. For more than 130 years, our team has crafted feeds we're proud to stand behind and give our own horses. Because just like you, we're animal people. I think that is such a powerful reminder of faith and of mental toughness and the power of life and just who we are, and being able to, again, forgive ourselves in that process too, and whatever that looks like. So you didn't just survive this. You rebuilt your life. You built something brand new. What has kept you moving forward? Would it have been easier to stay stuck? Walk us through how we have gotten to where you are now, as we, at the beginning of the show, walked back through that resume of success that you've had, Sharon. That is a very, I don't want to say unique story, because of course this is a unique story, right? But when it comes to the majority of people, let's say 100 people had exactly what you had happen to you, I can't imagine that all 100 of them would be able to go on and have the successful life that you have had. So how did that happen?
That's a good question. I would have to contribute a little bit of it to be just being hard-headed, if you want to know the truth about it.
So you're saying there's hope for me because I'm a hard-headed woman.
Yes, there is. There is. Hard, it's top A personalities. It was also refusal to let them control me. If I did not go forward with the life I wanted to live, I was still letting them, as well as my story, control me. And I refused to let that occur. Secondly, I now know the preciousness of life, because I'd faced it not knowing if I was going to be shot or beat to death. I faced it medically and laying there in the hospital. I never saw the light, but I'm not scared of death now because of the peacefulness I felt. So I know the preciousness of just having life and feeling well. I grew up poor, so I always knew that I wanted to work very hard and live a different lifestyle than how I grew up. And so that was a motivation factor too. And then the other day was very interesting. My collaborative writer was interviewing my sister for my book. And I never thought about this, but my sister said that she's never met a more determined individual than myself. And so see something I want to do or I won't, I go work hard for it. And I see opportunities. Opportunities are like sunrises. They come and they go. They're not always there. So if an opportunity is there, you jump on it and take it. And so a little bit of that goes back to the survival ABCs. You get a good attitude, believe in yourself, and it's a choice. But you're right. I was just off the phone just a few minutes ago securing a speaking engagement, and the lady was talking about how some victims are very weak. It's very hard for them. But there's so many resources out there to help people in this day and time. So a lot of it's innate. I was just born with it. I had a friend say, if Sharon doesn't have something to do, she'll find something to do. So
That probably goes back to that bit about trying to retire and that just not working out
yeah,
for you. I want to kind of refocus this a little bit just to those of our listeners who would consider themselves to be in their own kind of crisis right now. Maybe obviously it's probably not a kidnapping, but whether that is financial collapse or
Yes.
loss, betrayal, whatever their vision of rock bottom is, there are many people who feel like they're in it right now. What is the first step? What do you tell people who are trying to figure out how to get from where they are to a place where you are now?
Now, I know this is going to sound crazy, but it's okay. It's okay. Now reach out for help. Please share your story. There are people that want to help you. Don't be embarrassed. There are safe places, whether it's financial, whether it's mental health. We know the mental crisis we were facing in agriculture right now, whether it's mental health, whether you've maybe been sexually assaulted or domestic violence or just mental abuse,
Mhm.
whatever it is you are going through, there is a safe place for you to go and tell somebody. There is a safe place for you to get help, and more people want to help you than you know. So that's the first thing is recognition of it. It's okay. I'm not real happy I'm not here, and I feel like life's going to fall apart, but at least you realize it. Now go ask for help and seek that help. Is every day a bed of roses? Absolutely not. There were some times a year or two after I had gotten back on my feet. If you can imagine, I'm a 155-pound, 5'8" person, work out every day. When I came out of the hospital, I was 110 pounds and maybe a third of my hair. And so it took me about 2 years just to get back. And sometimes in those 2 years, I just look forward to night to go to sleep, to escape. But guess what? The sun came up the next day, and that was one more day I was further away from it and
Mhm.
one more day closer to healing. So, is it gonna be a quick answer? No, but just reach out for help because there's so many resources in this day and time that you can get help with whatever it is you're going through, and the people are out there to support you.
Oh, what a perfect way to end the episode. Although we're not done yet because we do have to have our rapid fire round. So, what is it that you hope people remember most about you?
You could call Sharon and she would be there.
What is a non negotiable in your life?
Coffee.
If you were a professional athlete, what would your walk up song be? So, the song they play when you walk into the arena, what is it?
Okay, I'm gonna go back old school on you a little bit.
I love this.
A little bit of soul, and that's that song, "She's a Bad Mama Jamma."
Ooh, I like this. What is the smartest thing someone's ever told you?
The smartest thing someone has ever told me, choose wisdom over intelligence.
And last question for you, favorite things. Do you have a favorite book, a podcast, a product, a life hack, a service, something that has truly changed your life, big or small, and you just want people to know about it?
I would say I do have a favorite book. It's about a story out of Fort Worth, Texas called Same Kind of Different as Me. It's amazing the lessons from a homeless man in that book.
Okay, I wrote that down for you guys, and I'll make sure that we include that in the show notes. But what else?
Well, I was just trying to think of anything else, but I would say that that would probably be one of my most favorite things.
Well, speaking of books,
Mhm.
when are people going to be able to have your book and be able to read that and listen to it? You're in the process of writing it now. We know that that takes months on end. So, do you even just have like a season as far as maybe, winter 2027 or what does that look like?
We're looking at January 27th.
Okay, perfect. Well, we will make sure that we do share that when that is available to pre order and then also to purchase as well. Sharon, where can people find you and follow you online?
Speaking of pre-ordering, you can actually go onto my website. It is SharonKinitialBeach.com, SharonKBeach.com, and you can sign up to be on the pre-order list if you want to. And the name of my book is Don't You Dare Let Go. There's a very sweet story in my book as far as the title came from. Please go to my website, send me an email, and you'll be the first ones to know when the pre-order is available.
Oh, Sharon, thank you so much for sitting down with us today. I know that your story, obviously, it is a very difficult one to hear. I can only imagine how hard it has been over the years to really tell that and come to terms with it. And we put off a brave face, but it's difficult nonetheless. And so I just want to thank you for being so open and willing to share that with other people, knowing that you may be writing a page in someone else's survival guide, as you said. So you guys know you will be back here next week with a brand new episode of the show. We've got an incredible guest for you. So until then, we will catch you next week.
If you loved this episode, do us a favor and share it with someone else who might find just as much value in it as you did. We're on a mission to continue to grow and strengthen the future of agriculture and Western industries, and you spreading the word helps us make more of a positive impact. It also makes a big difference when you take a minute to go rate and review the show. We can't thank you enough for listening, for sharing, and for loving Ag and Western as much as we do. We'll see you back here for our next episode.